XDC is what we're going to be covering in this video. Now, we have got a very bullish video for you XDC holders out there and people that are just curious about XDC and what its price might do over the coming weeks and months. So we're going to be delivering that video today. We're going to start things off perhaps with a little bit about XDC. It is, of course, one of the ISO 20022 future backbone of the financial system cryptos. And just the other day, there was a video that was essentially shared of XDC processing transactions using the ISO 20022 format, which we know all banks are going to adopt and have a deadline of November this year to do so. So we'll start off there. Then we're going to be looking at the chart from a macro perspective, a weekly time frame, breaking charts down how we like to break them down in regards to phase analysis, which breaks the markets down into 4 distinct phases: accumulation, phase 1, uptrend, phase 2, distribution, phase 3, and downtrend, phase 4. We're going to look at where XDC is on a weekly time frame in relation to all of that. And then we're going to be diving down the time frames, and I'm going to be showing you a falling wedge pattern that is likely going to lead to a major run. And it fits in very nicely with what we're expecting on the macro for XDC. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into it. And let's just kick things off with what Smoke, he actually sent me this. Shout out to Smoke, great guy to follow, certainly as it relates to ISO 20022 cryptos. We've had him on the show on a number of occasions. Or one occasion, we will have him on the show of a number of occasions. He posts here a video demonstration of XDC processing transactions using the ISO 20022 format. You now have video evidence of not just one, but 2 ISO 20022 compliant tokens actively functioning within a new messaging standard. Again, this is going to be adopted by Swift and essentially any major or every major financial player. This level of integration is only possible because of their ISO 20022 compliance. This is what sets these 8 tokens apart. Now we're going to challenge me. Off the top of my head, we've got XDC, we've got Cardano, Algo, HBAR, XRP, XLM, IOTA, and is it LCX or XC? Another one anyway, but these tokens, we've covered them all at different points, but these are the ISO tokens. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comment section. So we are, of course, bullish on XDC from that. I've got to admit, out of the ISO tokens, it's probably the one I'm least familiar with. We've done deep dives on all of the others. However, really what I want to do in this video is touch on it from a price point of view. Now, we break the markets down into 4 phases. We call it phase analysis. Great name, right? And essentially it looks at the markets through the lens of these 4 phases, and phase 1 is accumulate, phase 2 is uptrend, phase 3 is distribution, and phase 4 is a downtrend. And I believe that XDC, and your 30 weekly moving average will accompany it, I believe that XDC has just been in an accumulative range that happens to have set up as a double bottom, with this as your neckline or resistance level, if you will. And the double bottom's ultimately taking you to 46 cents. And I believe now this was an initiatory move on volume, the most volume XDC has seen since this accumulation. This is an initiatory move into phase 2, and you're going to see continuation. We've also got the technical target giving you confidence in regards to that, or confluence, I should say, in regards to that. And this is typically how markets move. These are some other coins, or these are small cap stocks. Not all small cap stocks, but stocks that we looked at that progress beautifully. You can see your accumulation range, your breakout, your retest, and then your continuation to target. We, of course, have American Superconductor Corp. Phase 1 accumulation, breakout, retest, continuation. The New York Times, we've even got the phases on here. You can see that double bottom target was indeed met. This is the future that XDC essentially has ahead of it, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Spotify has been a great one, and this is one of the strongest stocks. Believe it or not, it's done quite well actually, even in regards to the recent moves that we've seen. But you can see breakout, retest, continuation. You'll notice with your retest, you often come back to the 30 weekly moving average. You can see that here, can't you? Consistently after the initial breakout. Again here, XDC doing the exact same thing. And it's doing that sort of with the point being of a falling wedge at the 30 weekly moving average. So there's a number of things that are making me exceptionally bullish on this chart, and we want to get this update out ASAP. And then we've got Galaxy Digital, which of course is Mike Novograt's thing. So if you rate all those charts to XDC, we know how markets move typically, and we can get a great insight from that. And we believe this is just accumulation for XDC, and you now have your run to 46 cents ahead of you. And we want to be some of the first to get that out there. Let's dive down the smaller timeframes and potentially identify what is taking place here. And in my opinion, this is a falling wedge that may have indeed broken out. So what we're looking at is, of course, this. Let's put it on log. And this is your sort of completion of the wedge. Can you see this? There's 3 distinctive impulses, which is what you get in a falling wedge. It's a compression. It's kind of a similar methodology to Bollinger Bands, but it's a compression of price movement that ultimately leads to an expansion. And this is very common, that you kind of double bottom out of this and then see continuation. And that's all happening in and around your 30 weekly moving average, on the cusp of continuation of phase 2, and in line with your macro pattern, which will be a double bottom that's accumulated or formed around phase 1 accumulation, that's ultimately going to see continuation for this chart. It is a good looking chart. 1, 2, 3. You're sort of dribbling out, your volatility is low, you're going to see continuation. It's all happening in and around support as well, which is big macro support. So I personally believe, and you can't take this to the bank, I could always be 120% wrong, 180 degrees wrong, but I think you're looking at a 50 or 46 cent XDC price, and I have no fundamental idea of just how high the price can go beyond that, because I can only give you what I have technical merit for. So this is a chart that looks good. It's also in confluence with a lot of other altcoins out there. A lot of the ISO altcoins, actually, that all have falling wedges. And I ultimately believe, you know, this is going to lead to a breakout to the upside. Do I have any other charts that I don't have draws on? Bitstamp, perhaps. Yes, you can see this. Slightly different. But you can see what we're potentially looking at here. 1, 2, 3. I think you're going to get a real breakout out of this, a real move to the upside. And we typically get these falling wedges very right. We called a whole host of them going into December's kind of price movement for XRP, Hedera, a lot of them out there, and we made hundreds of % off of them. We're now here calling the same thing again. And there's a lot of confluence, including confluence with a broader space. So Bitcoin to me looks like it's kind of wanting to sort of break through the ceiling, if you will, of the recent pullback that it's been in. But XDC is one not to be slept on. Let's just play around with this falling wedge a little bit. And I think it's for the reasons that we're highlighting. You know, 1, 2, 3. And the volume profile on this is pretty damn good going up to a daily time frame. So you can see what you had was a real expansion in volume, a blow off, and then a descending volume, essentially, which is kind of what you want to see, because what that will typically lead to is an expansion in that volume. And that's very much what we're expecting for XDC. And this pattern is all taking place after what we believe is an initiatory move, being this, a pullback from that initiatory move of the bull market before then continuation. I think a lot of people in disbelief in regards to this right now, and the crypto space more broadly, but I think it's going to absolutely shock people. And going back to what I spoke about at the start of the video, the ISO coins, in my opinion, are the ones to watch. One of the biggest narratives for crypto is stablecoins and tokenized real-world assets, because the addressable market cap of money that can be brought into the crypto space as a result of all of this is hundreds of trillions of dollars. It's money itself we're talking about running on the rails of these cryptocurrencies. You know, XDC is quite in there in regards to global trade. And if you think about the cryptos that are going to enable that, the ISOs already have a major head start, major head start. We know that Swift's adopting ISO standards, and they've given a November deadline of this year. It's interesting that you have ISO cryptos. And there's a real link there. And what we're saying is technically this chart looks good, not just from a smaller time frame, because we're not really small time frame traders and investors. We're bigger time frame investors, and we'll look for small time frame patterns to trade and to give us confluence in regards to our bigger time frame thesis. And that's what you have here. This is phase 1. Phase 2 is to come. You've got a double bottom taking you into phase 2. You've got a falling wedge on the shorter time frames, also giving that confluence that you're heading in that direction. And you're sort of peaking with your falling wedge in and around your 30 weekly moving average. So we are expecting a 46 cents XDC price. How high can it go in the future? Well, that's really anybody's guess. We have technical merit for 46 cents. and a number of confluencing factors that give us the belief, and we could be 180 degrees wrong here, that XDC is about to embark on its next major move to the upside. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you all on that note. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.